Episode 9. Negotiating with Goblins. I glanced at the goblins. They were probably desperate. They held their weapons at the ready and watched me cautiously. Unfortunately, some were already getting cold feet and looking like they were about to run. But the leader was a different story. He kept his eyes on me, never looking away. He seems to have some intelligence. We might actually be able to have a conversation. Will it work? I decided to transmit my thoughts with a voice to see if the goblins would understand. Nice to meet you, I guess. I'm a slime named Rimuru. The goblins started murmuring amongst themselves. Did they freak out because a slime talked? I wondered. Some of them even threw their weapons down and prostrated themselves. This is weird. Guga, Almighty One, we have received your powerful words. Please lower your voice. Huh? Did I put too much thought into my words? This isn't just about communicating my intent. They're already terrified. My bad, I'm still getting the hang of it. Well, I apologized anyway. Oh no, we are not worthy of your apology. Looks like they understood me. This could be good practice. By the way, I was speaking to them in Japanese. I was surprised they could understand me. So, what do you need me for? I don't really have any business further down this path. They were being so polite to me, so I thought I should be polite in return, but they were so clearly afraid of me that I decided to be a little more assertive. Is that so? Our village is further down this path. We came to investigate after detecting the presence of a powerful monster. A powerful monster? I don't sense anything like that. Guga, Guga, a jest. You may appear so, but we will not be fooled. It seems they've completely misunderstood me. Note, he's the one who's misunderstood. They seem to be convinced that a powerful monster is just disguised as a slime. Goblins are, after all, famously known as one of the lowest-ranked monsters. After talking with the goblins for a while, I ended up being invited to their village. They offered to let me stay the night. They're kind, despite their scruffy appearance. I don't need to sleep, but taking a break wouldn't be a bad idea. With that thought, I accepted their invitation to the village. In their village. Along the way, I learned a few things. Their god had disappeared recently. At the same time, monsters had become more active. And more powerful human adventurers had been entering the forest. And so on. As our conversation continued, their words started sounding clearer to me. It seemed I was getting the hang of communicating through the application of my magic sense. It might have been a good thing to practice with goblins before trying to talk with humans. I followed them to their village while we talked. The village was so filthy I almost said, seriously. It was just a goblin nest. I shouldn't have expected much. They led me to what looked like the best-looking building. It had a leaky, rotting straw roof and walls that looked like they were made of nothing but stacked plywood. To my sensibilities from my previous life, a slum would have been better than this. We apologize for the wait, honored guest. A goblin came in saying that. The goblin leader who guided me was with him, supporting him. Oh, no, I haven't been waiting long. Don't worry about it. I responded with a smile I had honed from my days in sales. A slime smile, if you will. It's a terrifying technique I have to advance in negotiation with just a smile. I don't know what I'm negotiating, though. We don't have much to offer in the way of hospitality. I am the chief of this village. He said that and put something that looks like tea in front of me. I was surprised that goblins even had something like this. I slurped the tea. From the outside, it probably looked like I just covered the bowl. I couldn't taste anything. Of course, I don't have a sense of taste. Was that a good thing or a bad thing? I checked the components, and it wasn't poison. I could feel the goblin's consideration. So, you invited me all the way to your village. Was there something you needed? I asked them directly. It couldn't be a purely friendly invitation like, hey, we're both monsters, let's be friends. The village chief flinched, but he seemed to have steeled his resolve and looked at me. Then he spoke. Well, you know how monster activity has become more active recently. Our god, who used to protect the peace of this land, disappeared about a month ago. Because of that, the nearby monsters have started meddling in our affairs. We couldn't just stand by, but our strength is lacking. Their god. Could they be talking about Veldora? The timing seems right. So, the goblins want my help, huh? I understand, but I'm just a slime, so I don't think I'll be much help. Haha, you're too humble. A mere slime couldn't possibly exude so much ominous energy. We can't imagine why you've taken such a form, but surely you must be a monster of some renown. Ominous energy?
What is that? I don't remember putting anything like that out. I switched my magic sense to observe myself. Something like a sinister aura was wafting off me, covering my body. If only I had noticed it when I was practicing my mimicry in my body armor. This is so embarrassing. I felt the same way I did when I was walking down a busy street with my fly wide open. The concentration of magical essence in the cave was so thick that I didn't notice it at all. This is a problem. It's clearly a bad thing. I finally understood why other monsters had been reacting to me the way they did ever since I left the cave. No monster would want to mess with a guy who looks this dangerous. You can't fool me with your looks. That must have been what they thought. Well, if that's the case, I might as well lean into it. As expected of a village chief, you can tell. Of course, even in that form, the dignity you exude cannot be hidden. So you noticed, huh? You goblins seem to have potential. I'm getting into character. I'll keep this up and leave the chief to think what I want him to think. At the same time, I tried to figure out if I could get rid of that sinister aura, that ominous energy. Using the same technique I used to manipulate the magical essence outside my body, I willed the ominous energy to retract. Oh, you were testing us. You have our thanks. Many of our kin were afraid of that ominous energy. I had succeeded in hiding the ominous energy. I looked like a normal slime again. But what if I had been walking around looking like a regular slime all this time? Wouldn't I have been constantly harassed by other monsters? I guess it all worked out in the end. That's right, you have potential, approaching me without flinching from my ominous energy. What potential? I want to say that to myself, but I held back. I was an actor now. Haha, thank you. We won't ask you the reason for hiding your true form, but we have a request. Could you please hear us out? That's probably what this is all about. Depends on what it is. Tell me. I asked the chief, keeping up my haughty demeanor. This is what he told me. A new group of monsters had come from the east, trying to take over the land. There were several goblin villages in the area. This village was one of them, but they had lost many goblin warriors in skirmishes with the newcomers. The problem was that one of the fallen warriors had a name. That warrior was like a guardian for this village, and by losing him, the value of the village was greatly reduced. The other goblin villages abandoned this one. Their consensus was to deal with the newcomers while they were busy attacking this village. No matter how much the chief and the goblin leader pleaded, they were met with a cold shoulder. The chief spoke with a hint of resentment. I see. So, how many people live in this village? How many of them can fight? Around 100 goblins live here. About 60 can fight, including the females. That's not a lot. But being able to count the number of people, even roughly, might be a sign of intelligence for a goblin. Do you know how many newcomers there are and what kind they are? Yes, they are wolf monsters from the direwolf clan. Normally, it would take 10 of us to face one of them, and there are about 100 of them. Huh? What kind of ridiculous odds are those? I looked into the chief's eyes. He wasn't joking. He looked back at me with a serious expression. A little clouded, but it was a look of sincerity for a goblin. Did those goblin warriors go against them even though they knew they couldn't win? No, that information was obtained at the cost of their lives. I see. I asked a bad question. I also learned that the names goblin was the chief's son and the goblin leader's older brother. I thought about what to do after hearing their story. The chief waited for my decision without saying a word. Was that a tear in his eye, or was I imagining things? I must have been imagining things. Tears don't suit monsters. I will be arrogant and presumptuous. That is the correct demeanor for a monster that is feared. Chief, I want to confirm something. If I help this village, what will I get in return? What can you offer me? I could help them out of a whim, but those monsters, the ones that could fight 10 goblins with one of their own, there are 100 of them. They wouldn't be an easy opponent. I think I could handle them if I mimicked a black snake, but this isn't something I should just accept on a whim. We will offer you our loyalty. Please become our protector. Then we will swear our allegiance to you. I honestly don't want that. But after spending 90 days in solitude, even talking to goblins feels fun. If I were human, I might have been disgusted by their filthiness. But I'm a monster now. I don't need to worry about diseases. Most of all, the chief's eyes. They were completely relying on me. I remembered my past life. For all my complaining, I was a pushover when people asked me for things. I would complain and get flack from my juniors, but I would always listen to the requests of my clients and seniors. Very well, I will grant you your wish. I gave a pompous nod. And just like that, I became the master and protector of the goblins.